can actually directly begin with the Q&A. I mean, the slide deck remains very similar to what was already shared in the public domain a couple of days back, so I presume there are no big secrets there. Yeah. In case any of you have any questions for Parag, Anjani, or Ramesh, if you could raise your hand, we'll make sure the mic reaches you. Or we'll directly take you to demo, one of the two. So,
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah. At the right back. Yeah. Hi. So if you could talk a little bit about the customer experience on some of the interfaces like the app and so on. So historically, we've had issues and so on. At this point in time, could you walk us through what are the fundamental changes we're doing? Because I understand like a lot of the IT stack can be of legacy, and it might take a long time to change that. So could you walk us through what are we doing fundamentally to make sure that our consumer experience is as good as some of the newer digital players or fintechs and so on? Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Let me put it from a product point of view. If you see, and a customer selection and a distribution channel point of view, I think the bank has always been sort of up ahead in terms of addressing customer needs in segments, etc., with conventional banking products across the length and breadth of retail and wholesale. Okay, that's been a strength. That's what has sort of led us, the bank, to be what we are today after 27 years of existence. With the emergence of the digital, if you may call so, do-it-yourself sort of environment change which has happened over the last 5 to 7 years, I think increasingly a little bit of what was exposed is that the customer UI UX is not up to there compared to many of the apps who work only purely in the digital world. That being true, okay, we clearly said that that's an area which we need to build up on. But that alone is not enough in the new digital world. There are added dimensions to our larger transformation. So UI UX, customer experience, looking at user journeys, making them simpler, focusing on do-it-yourself, which is what you call unassisted journeys, and also having in an India type scenario, the unassisted journeys also available, because not everyone can and will be comfortable with just doing everything yourself. That was one layer of experience and change which is part of our transformation journey. Okay, important, and I'll cover that after this. But there are two more legs after that, I think, which has added on the scale and enormity of the kind of transformation journeys which we've done. One is obviously the scale. We're an extremely large bank as part of the ecosystem. Number one in most of the products in which we choose to be in. The scale of transactions, the scale of throughputs, the scale of interactions actually which we go through are clearly number one. If you take on a weighted average across most of the transactions, anywhere between 20-25%, a quarter of the transactions of the larger economy actually flow through our network. So what was important from a digital perspective is not just the UI UX, but also ensuring that the infrastructure is capable of taking that scale. UPI being an example, the kind of retail asset dispersal transactions which sort of take on the card volume transactions, both on the issuing side and the acceptance side, are just examples of the kind of volume throughputs which we sort of go through. So it was imperative as part of the transformation to also look at the core key infrastructure, whether it is the conventional stack which we've been working on, and the newer stacks and the digital stacks which we sort of working on. So that's the second bit and a very important bit of our transformation journey. The third bit, obviously, is that given our stature and status in the industry, we had to significantly strengthen also the network, the security, of transactions. Given the fact that whilst we had done quite a lot in the conventional world, the digital era has brought in different forms and types and velocities of, if you may call, fraud, risk, operational risk, etc., in a much more holistic manner. So these are the three levels in which we've clearly sort of invested in, and our transformation journey is a sliver of all the three process. So it's not just about changing the UI UX. Changing the UI UX is only one part of the journey, not enough. Okay. Two other dimensions which I definitely want to mention before I get into your first part of the question which you asked me is that we're a running bank. All that we did, the infrastructure, the capabilities, the distribution assets, the customer franchise which we built in, and has obviously taken us to the success levels that we are today and the stature which we are today. All of that was great at a point in time. With the changing times, what has changed essentially in the environment? Customer needs and needs to interact with their principals has very clearly changed in terms of the ways in which he wants to interact with. Okay, digital being a clear phenomena of that. The second bit is obviously demand or consumption or transactions has also grown up in multiple scale, driven a lot by the fintech and a lot of new players getting into each category. Okay, so given that we are a running bank, we had a task of looking at the existing stack, and we chose to go the modernization route of the existing stack. Simultaneously, the second part of our transformation journey is about building new capabilities, practices, and also building new digital platforms, which are grounds-up approach on a completely new architecture. Okay, so we've adopted that strategy in our part of our transformation. So if you look at it as a matrix, we looked at in terms of scale, UI UX changing, scale capacity and risk and security, and this side looking at modernizing the stack and building on new incremental capabilities. That's the matrix of the transformation which we've gone through right now, and therefore, as you see, UI UX is one subset of that whole transformation journey, an important subset because that's what you and me as customers also see and feel and experience. And I'll now talk about it. Okay, so that was just a sort of run up to, and Ramesh and Anjani can sort of talk a little more about that if you have questions on that front. Coming to the UI UX, very important part, customers see, feel, experience, etc. So a significant amount of work has gone in rebuilding, reimagining a lot of the customers' user journeys at the back end. That is again critical because just changing the UI UX is not enough. And there are constant parts for each and every product journey which have been reimagined. In the UI UX space, aside, I mean, I'll just talk about the kind of profession. I mean, we've brought in a lot of internal help and professional help to change this thing. But what you'll see, and I'll give you some 3-4 examples of completely revamped and changed UI UX, which you will see, which is going to only aid and abet our growth in the digital space. Some of the demos you'll see soon. So Payzap 2.0, we had a Payzap 1.0. Feedback was exactly the same. UI UX not up to the mark, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Payzap 2.0 is a completely reimagined UI UX experience. Part number 1 of that transformation. Part number 2 of that of the transformation is a completely comprehensive set of payment options for a customer and a mobile commerce platform inbuilt into that, the Smart Buy built into the Payzap. And the third is completely built on a new digital, grounds up, cloud-ready, cloud-native, containerized stack, which therefore factors in for nimble, agile product changes on the fly, and of course, scalability at the front. So you'll see Payzap 2.0, and we'll take you through a demo of that, of an example, one aspect of the kind of UI UX change, which has been designed to take into account current means and also benchmark to competition. Smart Hub Vyapar 2.0, which is our version of the mobile merchant ecosystem to ensure, which is targeted at the small retailers, the small grocery. 1.0 was a point solution. It was an app which scanned a QR and the UI UX was just that. Okay. 2.0 has been once again reimagined to ensure that it's a one app platform solution plug and play for merchants, which allows 2-3 things. Or in short, all payment forms in a box. The merchant can accept any form of payment which a customer chooses to pay by. Completely interoperable. Okay, the Smart Hub Vyapar app can scan a Paytm QR or a GPay QR and still initiate a payment. It accepts cards. It accepts remote payments, wallet payments, all interoperable. okay, and UI UX change accordingly. It offers him, because the bulk of the merchants will also be either potential bank customers or existing bank customers, offer him what we call a suite of core banking products available on the fly, accounts and products related to accounts. Asset build, part of our strategy is very simple. Enter into the merchant acceptance space through payments, get the liability relationship, use the velocity of transactions and the balances which the merchant displays, and therefore underwrite him for loans. So small ticket, small tenure loans like Dukandar loans, business loans, cards, loan on card, etc., all available as a pre-approved offer inside the app, single click, money into the account type of products. Okay, and the fourth is giving him productivity tools which will help him enhance his business. How can he display his product on Facebook, send a link to you, remote and collect payment, so on and so forth. The UI UX will reflect all of these changes in a completely contemporary manner, designed both for Android and iOS. Okay, so aside of the functionalities which we built up and a very strong, robust backend, once again UI UX is another form of it. The third example which I'll talk about is our 24/7, 360-degree customer servicing platform. Conventional world, call center, standalone. Email, standalone. SMS, standalone. This is a completely digital, omnipresent channel which allows the customer to access queries, questions, complaints, what have you, etc., through one digital interface, UI UX being an important part of this whole thing. Carry forward his interactions seamlessly across any channel, just as much as you see in Netflix. You can start a journey on a mobile and then continue on your iPad or on your laptop seamlessly, and to the back-end agent which sort of responds to it, he gets a one view of the customer interactions. So these are three examples I'll talk about where UI UX has played an extremely important role of being designed, customized to today's needs of the customer. We've built it on a platform which is given to us in partnership with Adobe called Forms, which gives us also the flexibility to change those UI UXs on the fly. Anjani will talk a little more about that and probably demo you also on that. But that's our approach to these three apps which I talked about. But fundamentally, the same approach we've applied across all customer-facing applications. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think
Hi, Parag. I have a quick follow-up on that. Very exciting to hear this, both as a customer and an investor.
You'll see it also. You'll see it also, by the way. And Anjani will talk about when the customers will also see it.
Sure.
Okay.
My question is the next step. Do you, in the past you haven't, at least my opinion is that you haven't exactly evangelized your product features as aggressively as you could have. I'll give you a very simple example. Payzap 1.0 with all its flaws is hardly present on the checkout of most e-commerce apps, etc., as a specific checkout. And for that, initially once you launch it, you'll have to spend a little money and get into that checkout, maybe even offer discounts, etc., to promote the use of these apps, and with your user base, then it'll probably catch on. So is that part of the strategy? I'll give you another example. About 6-7 years ago, you had a unified POS machine, right? Where, you said you could pay by your phone, you could pay by your card, you could pay multiple. Was hardly ever evangelized. Pine Labs now is talking about it, but you had it. It was your own machine which was promoting it. I knew because I was an analyst then, but I don't think in general many merchants knew about it, or at least many users did not know about it. So, revamping the your digital infrastructure is a great first step. But what is your strategy in evangelizing this, making sure that they, get taken on? And are you prepared to spend initially for the first year or two to speed up the adoption of these apps? And then with your customer base, it should take off fairly well.
Okay, so I'll break up your question or the answer to your question in two parts. One is, yeah, I admit, probably we've not been in the face in terms of advertising, as you call so many of the changes which you do, and there have been a host of changes, new product launches, improvements, etc., etc. Fundamental belief is that when we directly reach out to customers, a lot of that experience, etc., is what he feels to so. We probably need to change that, and you'll see some changes clearly happening over the year and two, because we do believe that, yes, sometimes seeing is also part of the experience. So I'll nuance that bit to say, yeah, that's an area where we have clearly said that we will go back. And with properties like Payzap, which are hardcore consumer apps, properties like even SmartHub or our Auto Express, which we're sort of going on, we will be going aggressively to the marketplace, which is a combination of above the line and below the line. Okay? Will we be still up there as the hero in terms of front page ads? Maybe not. Okay, but we'll definitely ensure that through digital and other physical means we'll be there, etc. And that's a change which we clearly done. So, admittedly so. Coming to your second point about the relevant type of features being there, you said Payzap not accepted in many merchants. Once again, yes, that was a clear weakness. Okay, the way we've addressed it, therefore, now, and even more deeply so than what we was in South one, the Payzap number one only accepted through cards and a wallet. Okay, there was no UPI, there was no many other things. The new Payzap 0, just to sort of quickly mention, will not just have all cards. All cards means not my cards, HDFC Bank, but also other bank cards. Number one, it still has the wallet. It has UPI, clearly, with a similar experience as GPay. Like when you test out the product, you will see that. It has tap and pay. Okay, so I can take the mobile, tap it on a NFC-enabled POS machine, and I can pay, therefore, in the physical stores. And of course, it reads all QRs in the marketplace, and so therefore, there are multiple ways and means in which I can sort of pay. Okay, our leveraging at the ground level, and all of that work is actually happening, will be to leverage HDFC Bank's very vast acceptance system. But because it's also an interoperable system, it will be accepted at all POS machines. Take your point about, you talked about the DigiPOS, which we called, which we had launched, etc. Once again, we've not talked about it, but today of our million-plus POS machine base, which carries 46% of the card volumes in the industry, okay, even though it's only 18% of the installed base, okay, 80% are DigiPOS. And going beyond this, the conventional swipe or the tip, we get a significant amount of digital transactions already on that also. So, but yes, I admit to your point, we've not probably tom-tommed it or talked about it. That's something which we want to sort of address going forward. Okay. I hope I've sort of answered your question.
Parag, just want to...
Thank you.
Just want to take on little more point, one point that one missed out, if I can come in.
Yeah.
Parag, I just wanted to respond, if that's okay.
Sorry.
On the... Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I don't need... So I think one of the things that you spoke about on the checkouts, on the payment gateway, because it's a very important part of the growth hacking that you do, right? So what you're going to see in Payzap 2.0, it's a swipe and pay. No biometric, no this, everything is combined into one swipe. And we have a strategy to proliferate this at every single lookup on any of the gateways that you see today. And you're far simplifying. In fact, a lot of focus that's gone into growth hacking this, just to give you a little more perspective, because that's where we're learning from the fintech world, that it's not about just putting the app, it's also about putting it in the right place at the right time and the right way. So there's a lot of work that's gone, and you will see that actually in the demo. We'll show you how we're kind of looking at that simple swipe and pay options coming through. So one is just building the product, and like I said, then distributing the product digitally in a way that it gets adopted. A lot of thoughts have gone in this time, So
exactly. In a post-tokenization world, even Payzap 1.0 is a pretty powerful product, right? If I have my card stored on Payzap, and by the way, I already can store, I have a Citibank card stored on my Payzap. In a post-tokenization world, it's a very powerful product, right? Because some vague website, I may not want to store my card, I can go to Payzap. But in most checkout sites, or even on Razorpay, Payzap doesn't appear as an option. I have to click on wallets and then go to Payzap. So if you strike a deal with your payment gateway, right, and install that, and that aggression has been, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your business, but that aggression somehow has been missing from HDFC Bank, despite having pretty decent digital products which somehow are not as visible as it has been. So I just want to understand, is that mindset changing? Because some of this involves costs, right?
Yeah.
You have to strike a deal with the payment gateway to get your checkout right up there. So I'm trying to find out whether the mindset is changing in terms of evangelizing your products.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you will see that. We'll show you how we're thinking of these, these assets getting plugged into various, and there will be a marketing push, so to say. You can't do it without that.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, what you're essentially saying on a conventional business where we are number one, etc., scale is important, and we've shown aggression, deep aggression in doing that. In the digital world, even more so. Yes. So customer acquisition, okay, it is an extremely part of every digital journey and digital app which we've created. The focus is to build that scale, okay, and it'll be, without really naming numbers, over the next 2 to 3 years, the pure digital assisted and unassisted will be a significant portion of incremental acquisition going forward. To answer that question of scale, yes, the point is absolutely valid, and we've baked into our study not just the payments, but whether it's Arvind or whether it's Arvind Kapil, Arvind Vora, all the businesses, acquisition of new customers at scale is an integral part of our digital journeys.
Thank you so much, and I won't take up too much of your time.
Hi. Yeah. So if I look at HDFC Bank, right? So there is the UI that we are discussing right now, right? And there is our lending part of the business, right? So in lending, we've been like a stealth learning machine over the last 20 years. We probably have the best risk-adjusted book, and we've learned as in products, asset by asset, and we've kind of got the best asset quality book in this country, right? Whereas in terms of UI of our, be it net banking, be it smart buy, be it wallets, or consistently we've been like subpar, right? So is there, do we have, or are we lacking a feedback loop system within our organization, which kind of gives us a feedback or some third-party audit or some third-party feedback which kind of tells us that, look, the UI is like sorely lacking, right? Lagging behind peers, lagging behind new age fintechs or even peer banks, right? So I was just kind of baffled between the two, right? On one side, we are like miles ahead of everybody else, and on the other side, we seem to be either lacking a feedback system or something seems to be amiss, like so. If you could just share, how do we kind of go about this, whereas lending, like you expressed it every year after year and we kind of hear that and we see it in the numbers. Whereas this is something that we kind of cannot solve the puzzle in our head. So if you could just give a deeper insight as to how are we going about solving, where are the issues, have we identified the issues or something, if you could share.
So to understand your question in a lighter vein, you're asking me why am I an ugly duckling? Okay. But jokes apart, I think similar. Yeah, I think your question is reasonably similar to the earlier question which you had to say, is UI UX an important part of our digital transformation journeys? Okay, amongst the other things which I do mention, I think the answer is the unequivocal yes. Yes. Clearly, we understand that customer optics, use, and the user journey is an extremely important part of his onboarding journey, et cetera, and we've done multiple things, amongst other things, to really look at that. More than me talking about it, I think the glimpse which will give you in the demos, I think will give you an indication of the kind of UI, UX, et cetera, we're doing. But detailed, from a structure perspective, building an in-house and an external design studio to focus on building contemporary UI, UXs which sort of look at what the customer does. A design philosophy which starts from UI UX first and goes backwards to ensure that the user journeys are adapted to the design philosophy is the second. Okay, clearly the kind of audits which we do to ensure that user journeys are optimized to the extent that use automation and therefore improve the UI UX are a couple of the areas which are an integral part of our entire pod structure when we built our MVPs, etc., and not just the front end, but also a lot of the back end stuff, etc. So I can keep on going on and forth, but and these are the things which we are doing at a ground level. There are operating, work level related changes which we are doing. But I think the proof of the pudding will be, to start off with, will be the demos which you'll see and give you an indication of the kind of UI UXs which we're actually building. Okay.
Sorry, Parag.
And I'd probably try to leave it at that, because then the demos will speak for themselves.
Yeah, so just to add, right, so what you just said, right, I could not really understand in the sense, still, as to do we really have a feedback system? Are we working?
Can I just take that?
And just to give you an example, right, the net banking website just got
Yeah, so I'll come to the net bank. So I'll come
Yeah.
to the net banking, because that's the question that you asked, net and mobile, right?
Yeah.
Why is that you're not able to change, right? It's a simple question. I mean, you're not asking in the same format. I mean, every other bank's website looks glossy, good, UI, UX, and here you have to see the same thing for the last 7 years, right? That's the fundamental question.
No, glossy is different, ease of use is different.
I'll come to that. So the two aspects to this. Okay, one, what the scale at which the mobile and internet assets of the bank works is extremely different from some of the peer players. Okay, number one. Okay, so changing that at a mass scale is a very, very risky aspect, and we have gone through this multiple times earlier on. What we are doing there is, instead of, so one is to really make the UI UX very good, but then the back end is not holding up, you will again come back in this problem, because the problem has largely been to scale up the back end first. And that's what we have actually consciously done on our mobile apps and on internet apps of late actually. A lot of work around DR resiliency, ability to come up quickly, not too many transaction failures, those kind of focus we have done actually. And you would have seen some of those results coming out if you used our app of late. But changing incremental on the UI platform on an old technology will only take you that much. So what we are doing there is two important things. We are rebuilding and rewriting our entire mobile app, okay? And not just from and we are saying not just, don't look at it fully from a front-end perspective, because that's just going to, again, lead you into trouble. So there is a project, in fact, we couldn't cover in the presentation, but if you look up on the presentation, you will see a new mobile bank. In fact, we are actually developing the mobile app, because we want to get the entire front-end experience and the middle on with us actually, not kind of dependent on a third-party partner. And you understand, a lot of banks today work only as product kind of companies, right? They just buy that product. We did that a few years back. If you remember, we are on a platform called Backbase. A lot of you would know that. What it does is that it doesn't allow you to do like the smart rollouts like a fintech, because the whole game is 3 weeks MVP and a quick rollout on the front end apps. So I think there are two strategies here, and that's why mobile and net banking interfaces will follow up, will start following up. So Payzap will come in. Smart Hub is already in. Some of the new acquisition journey, the entire look and feel is changing, and you will start seeing some improvements into mobile. In fact, I don't know if you have already looked at 11.1 version that we have done. Some lookups. I wouldn't say it's gone beyond. We're going to launch a new internet banking, and that's still little back-ended in that sense. And then we will introduce our own mobile app, let's say around about 9 to 10 months away at this point of time. And you will start seeing one by one all the assets back. So what we are doing is we are trying to do it in a way that both back end and front end are completely done in a holistic way, because you don't get multiple opportunities to relaunch your mobile and get it right. Okay. And I can talk about it. It's a very different strategy from a back end technology of what we are doing there while we are building the mobile app. These are not just buying the product. We are actually getting into very deep partnership with people like Google, with Aerospikes, and the programming language is completely changed from Java based to Golang, and a lot of those kind of work is happening today on the ground. And none of these applications, like Parag said, are built in by enterprise classical thought process. These are quasi startups working in co-working spaces, in partnership with design studios. So a lot of change that's gone in. It's just that we don't talk about it because we think we will need to get some time to start putting these assets on the table and then show what we can do.
Just one example, building a good digital product is actually, we also have to architect it properly. And today the way it is architected is we have a good core which has to scale up, it has to perform at scale and always be on. And at the top where we have the engagement layer, there we create good experiences. Both have to work together, and in between is a middleware which allows APIs, data and function to be exposed. We have to do it holistically. And a good example is what we have done on UPI. UPI, everybody has a very similar experience. It's a public digital good. Why is it that HDFC Bank has the least amount of failures on that? Because with that kind of experience, we have built a very robust and a resilient backend and the underlying infrastructure. So we are now ready to create new experiences which will match the best available in the market, and it will be supported by a very resilient infrastructure that we are putting in place, which is cloud native digital infrastructure to support that kind of experience. And this is what we've been doing over the past few quarters. And you will see the results right now. The kind of experiences that we are creating is no less than what is available by the best in the market today.
And I think the demos will give us the
and none of all the demos that you see, none of them are on-prem. These are all cloud-native, container-driven, modern kind of stack, and these are already on. In fact, we've probably one of the banks which have gone 4 to 5 apps already onto cloud. And we are clear that over a period of next 2 to 3 years, we'll probably 60% on cloud actually as a company actually.
So if you allow me, I'll just narrate one small example. I won't take more than 15 seconds. Sorry, really, 15 seconds.
I think the answers might take a bit longer, right? So we can probably go through the demo.
We can connect offline and then have a conversation if that works for you. Thanks.
Sorry. So the way in which I pay to anybody, it could be through a credit card, debit card, UPI, by any of the form factors that we use today. And this is the kind of experience that we see here on the new Payzap. So I'm a citizen of this country who has got a bank account with some cards available. I switch on my Payzap, I download it from the App Store. I choose my mobile number. I choose the terms and conditions. Move ahead and say, okay. I have a dual SIM phone, so I have to choose which SIM I'm going to use for my transactions. And the moment I give my mobile number, this recognizes me as a customer of HDFC Bank in this case, and shows my debit card where I'm being asked for the last 4 digits of my debit card. I enter that and submit. So the moment I do this, all my cards and relationship with the bank is available here. I've got 1, 2, 3 few debit cards and credit cards available. But this is not all. I am also having a bank account from another bank, which is not HDFC Bank. So how do I link my card over there? I just add that. I give the details of that card here. It's a PNB account, so I have to give my OTP to authenticate myself, which comes from the bank. And there you see my PNB account and a card is also linked here. With this, I'm able to onboard myself as a customer with all my credit card, debit cards across any bank in the country. And then when I proceed from here, I'm able to link my account as well. In this case, I'm just choosing an HDFC Bank account that I have. I choose this particular account which is available and proceed. And this becomes my account on which my UPI handle is going to work. This is my prepaid card which appears inside Payzap. And here I am live. I use my authentication with my Face ID or biometric to open the account which is set up here. So this is the onboarding process which is available. This is completely safe and secure. It pulls all my accounts and cards across any banking ecosystem where it is present today. Now, what do I do with this? I go into a store where I want to use my Payzap as a payment app. I see a QR code. I choose the amount that I have to pay. Let's say I want to pay 500 rupees. I choose the account through which I want to pay. And give my UPI pass, and this transaction is done. So I'm able to pay using any of the form factors here. This, what I demonstrated just now, is only through UPI, but I can pay through a credit card, debit card, all our tokenized cards here. The transaction can go through any of these means. We can add any of the billers here, where I click on linking billers. It uses my mobile number to fetch all the billers that I have, and I can view the bills which are available. I have a Videocon, a Vodafone Idea, and a HDFC FASTag which is available. I can see that some of these are due in 2 days and 3 days. I can use any of these methods to pay for it. Here you can see that the Videocon outstanding is 1760 on my bill. This is the experience that Parag was talking to about. This is a swipe to pay, which is a much easier way and a safer way to pay. I just swipe on my app, which will help me just pay directly. I apply a coupon code which is available right now through Payzap. I apply it, I get a discount of 20 rupees because I am using the coupon, and then I swipe and pay, and the transaction is done. This is the experience which is not available today on any of the payment apps across the country. So in that same manner, if I want to pay to any of my contacts available in UPI, I go through the app again. I choose send money. I put down the name of the person whom I want to pay. In this case, it is Nirmal. I choose Nirmal's name here. I choose the amount that I want to pay. And then I choose to pay using my UPI PIN, which is available here. And I'm able to pay to Nirmal directly through this. Here, because of the mapper, which is now available through NPCI, it is possible that the recipient is not with Payzap. The recipient could be on any of the PSP apps, let's say PhonePe or Google Pay. I'm able to send money to that person. But at the same time, we can add Payzap as a preferred means of receiving money by saying that create UPI handle through Payzap. I give my mobile number and create a UPI number. So then Payzap becomes the preferred way of receiving money from any of the PSP apps across the country here. So that's the kind of experience that we are building through the new Payzap. Just want to take you through, let's say if I want to book a ticket, how can I do that? So I go into shop, I choose, let's say, Red Bus, which is an app which allows me to book tickets. I choose from Chennai to Bangalore on a certain date. Then I get the various options which is available from Red Bus. I choose the option that is suiting me. I apply the promotion code, and this is what it gives me. I can pay through a credit card, debit card, net banking, or through Payzap. And I choose to pay with Payzap. Here again, I swipe to pay, and the transaction is done. This is one of the safest way to make payments for commerce as well as any of the marketplaces using the new Payzap that we are building here. Likewise, if I am on a website where I want to, let's say, buy some groceries, I go on the website where I need to purchase, I choose my product, add it to the catalog, and during checkout option, again, I have here the options to pay with Payzap. I place the order. Because I'm going there for the first time, I'm going to register myself on Payzap, add the PIN, which is available here, link my account, which is linked here, and pay using Payzap here. So that's the kind of experience that we are talking about when you do commerce, and we are able to pay using Payzap for each of these properties. I think there was one question around how do we link Payzap and make it available across all digital commerce properties. This is now equipped to do that. The other question, of course, is how do we make it happen across the entire ecosystem which is available in India. This also has, this is a completely self-care app. Customers can raise tickets. We can see smart statements where I can go and see how am I spending. What is my spending details here? I have spent 35% on food, 20% bills, 15% peer-to-peer transfer, 10% is shopping, and 20% others. I can then get my smart statement regularly on emails as well. So that's the kind of experience that we are creating on Payzap. I'm also going to take us through another one, which is can we go to the PPT now? Thank you. So that's a sneak preview of Payzap. I'm just now going to move on to the customer experience hub, which is what Parag spoke about in his conversation, which is a way to support a customer. A customer today can reach out to the bank through various means. It could be through a voice call, a mobile app, an email, social care, WhatsApp, SMS, video chat. There are multiple ways in which a customer can reach out. What we are going to demonstrate here is when you call a phone banking line, which is 1-800 number now available, what is the kind of experience our customers are going to get?
Hello Priti, welcome to HDFC Bank. How may I help you today?
Hi, I've lost my credit card. Can you help me block it, please?
Okay, let me help you with that. I am initiating the card blocking process for you. I have shared a 4-digit OTP on your registered mobile number. Can you please enter that? Thank you for providing the OTP. Your credit card is blocked now, and you will receive a confirmation SMS and email. Do you want to reissue the credit card at your registered address?
Yes, please. That will be really helpful.
Okay, I have raised a request for the same, and you will receive a confirmation SMS and email shortly. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, that's all for now. Thank you.
So what you heard just
Hello,
now,
Priti. Welcome.
what you heard just now was the voice of a bot. This is a digital deflection. A call is coming in to get support from phone banking. The IVR is smart enough to speak to the customer and is able to serve the customer. We have seen that we've analyzed the calls that come to our call center and various complaints and queries that come. Most of these can be solved using technology today. There are complex queries and questions which will come, which still has to be handled with agents, but a lot of it can be handled using technology. And today the bots are smart enough. If we can power it with the right kind of APIs to block a credit card, a debit card, issue a new card, those kind of things are possible. And this is one example of the capability that we are bringing in. The same capability will be available on text channels like WhatsApp, or when you tweet and complain, again the same bot is going to respond accordingly and is going to get in touch with the customer to solve the customer problem. This kind of digital deflection, we are seeing encouraging results. About 25% of the overall TAT is coming down. So if we had a human who was handling this, as compared to a bot, we've already launched it at 2 of the channels, and we are seeing some encouraging results over there. A lot of emails that come today. Earlier, somebody used to read that and say, okay, this is a credit card related email. It needs to go to the credit card support desk. This is a PL related complaint. It needs to go to a PL desk. Now, all that is being managed through a bot which is able to sort the emails which are coming in and send it to the right desk. Of course, this is not 100% accurate. There may be cases where the bot is able to not capture the intent of the customer. In that case, human interventions are needed. But a large part of it is being handled through bots today. We have seen encouraging results. AI, ML is also acting on the same set of things, so bots are learning as well. The first 100,000 emails might be difficult to read, but the next 100,000 emails are easier to read because the bot is constantly reading and understanding some of these things. So that's the kind of customer care platform we are building. Shashi in the morning spoke about building a service-first organization, and here is a capability that we are bringing in to serve our customers across multiple channels. So after this, I'm going to show one more capability that we have today, which is around Smart Hub. So what we saw on Payzap was essentially on the issuing side, how our customers can link their credit card, debit card, UPI handle, etc. to make payments. This is the smart hub. So Parag spoke about creating a merchant ecosystem. We've already got active set of merchants which are more than 2 million today. And these merchants have taken some time. We had to go to these merchants, open their current account, make them a merchant, onboard them, and now they are ready to accept. If we have to do the same to get to 20 million, then we have to handle a long tail of merchants. Imagine if I'm a shopkeeper in a rural hinterland in India, how can I become a merchant very quickly with HDFC Bank? Now that kind of capability is available today with us on the new Smart Hub, and want to just demonstrate how a small shopkeeper in any small town can easily become a merchant with HDFC Bank and start accepting payments from its customers and do a lot more. So let's imagine that I'm a merchant and I download this Smart Hub app from the App Store. What can I do with it? I will choose a language here. Then I say I want to register. I choose my mobile number. Then I enter my PAN details. I agree to the terms and conditions. I give the OTP that is coming on my mobile phone. And my OTP gets verified. I'm setting an MPIN for my new app so that I can use it again and again. The MPIN is set regularly. This is checking the eligibility for me, whether I can become a merchant or not, and it gives me terms and conditions saying that I can accept payment, SMS. Is it visible now? I choose my account with HDFC Bank that I want to link it where I want to accept money. Then I choose the category of merchant I am. So I want to be I am an apparel merchant. This is for MCC. I give my GSTN ID details, my email ID. I disclose my annual turnover. And here I say whether I am helped by an HDFC Bank employee. As Parag mentioned, we have an assisted and an unassisted economy. Both is running. So if in case I am helped by an HDFC Bank employee, I can choose this. Or if I'm not, I can switch it off. And then I accept the terms and conditions and complete it. Just by following this process, I have become a merchant who is active and ready to accept payment by any customer who comes into my store. So let's see what I can do with this. Now I've become a merchant who is live. I have the first customer walking in. I show my Bharat QR code to that customer and put down the mobile number of the customer. I say I want to collect 1,000 rupees and initiate the payment. Here is a QR code that appears on my phone that the customer is going to scan through her phone and make the payment immediately. Then I can go to the dashboard and see that I've received 1,000 rupees of payment from my first customer who came in. My next customer comes in, takes the stuff and goes back home. Now I have to send a collect UPI instruction to my customer. So I'm doing that. I'm sending a 1,500 rupees instruction to my customer to initiate a payment. This I send through WhatsApp. My customer gets this message that she has to pay me 1,500 rupees. I go to the dashboard. I still see 1,000 rupees. This means my customer has not paid it yet. Then I see my recent transactions. I can see a green tick here, which was for 1,000 rupees, which the customer paid. This is a yellow tick. So my customer who has received the instruction on WhatsApp has actually not paid yet. The moment that customer pays, it becomes green here. And it reflects in my app that I've got 2,500 rupees collected from my customer. So this enables a small shopkeeper across the country to become a merchant immediately and accept money in any form from the customer. That is one. The second, it allows that shopkeeper to engage with the customer. Typically, a small kirana store will have 100 families in and around who are going to take the stuff, take groceries back home. You need to collect money from those families. This allows the shopkeeper to collect all that kind of payments coming from the customer. Not only this, this app also enables me to do banking, and this is what we are going to share here. So let's say I am a shopkeeper who's using this app and I need loan here from HDFC Bank. How can I get a loan? I go to the app again. I see that these are the various options available from HDFC Bank. I've got 2 to 15 lakh, more than 1 year. I choose these options and I say, what are the loan options available for me as a shopkeeper? I can see a Dukandar overdraft. I can see Flexi Pay available, business loan, Insta loan, various loan amounts are given. I choose one of the loans, let's say jumbo loan, and apply for it. The moment I click on that, I see a new form that appears here. This is again 100% digital inside the app on my handset. I can give my mobile number, I enter the OTP. It allows me to choose, do I want 8 lakh rupees or do I want a little more or less? I choose the tenure here. It shows me how much is the EMI, what is the monthly rate of interest, what is the processing fee. Once I agree to the terms and conditions, this 8 lakh rupees is transferred into my account instantly and I get the loan here from HDFC Bank. So this Vyapar app allows me to actually grow my business as well. I can engage with my customers, I can accept payments, and this is a bank in a box for me. I don't really need to go into a bank branch or talk to any bank officer. I can be in any part of the country and this is available as long as I have connectivity. So this is another way on the acquiring side where our merchants can grow faster in partnership with HDFC Bank. So I'm going to just stop here with these 3 examples.
Yeah. Sorry. We'll just do a very quick round of 1 or 2 questions maximum, and then mic in the middle, and then we'll take the one last question at the end. Yeah. Just need to switch it on.
Yeah, hello.
Just one.
Yeah, a couple of questions. When you are putting this aspiration to build this technology stack, what is the target you're benchmarking against? Is it the equivalent of the best in fintech or the best bank? What is the aspirational level and what is the timeline for that aspirational level?
So first of all, what you're seeing here is not an aspiration. This is something, for example, Smart Hub is already live in the market today with few of the stores. We've not rolled it out across the country. It is available. What you saw on the sprinkler, that is again available today with 2 channels. We are doing the pilot in one of our phone banking centers in Jaipur. So some of these things are real and live. It's that we are testing it till we are thoroughly satisfied that it's going to work at the scale that we have and make it work. Now in terms of experience, our benchmark is consumer tech companies. It's not financial services, it's not fintech. When you get up in the morning, you don't want to go into a bank. You are used to dealing with technology in a certain manner, which is actually being propagated over the last so many years in consumer tech. When I watch Netflix, I know which movie I'm going into. If I pause a film, I can come back tomorrow again, it starts from there. So my consumer habit is being framed not just by fintechs or financial services or banks. It is being inculcated in me through various touch points of technology. And that is the kind of experience that we want to bring in. When you call a phone banking channel, do you really want a banker to pick up the phone and answer your query, or you're okay that a bot answers that, it just gives you an OTP, authenticates you and blocks your card? Because in the end, you had called to block your credit card because you lost it. You want to reissue a card. You can just do that conversation and move on. So the kind of experience that we are building should be so seamless that it is not a chore for a customer. It is fun to interact and get some of these things done.
Yeah, on this same, on a different axis on this, you want to benchmark against consumer tech. Consumer tech companies do a great job of using whatever data they can get on customers to customize and solve problems. The banks sit on treasure trove of data. You know which mobile operator I use, what is my monthly electricity bill because I paid electricity bill on your app. You know whether I have how many kids because school fees gets paid. So there's a treasure trove of data, what my salaries are, my home loans are, vehicle loans are. So where I eat, by the way, because your credit cards get swiped, where do I shop? So how do you use this treasure trove data to take better decisions, because you have all the data sitting inside the bank, right? Unlike other platforms. How do you use this data to offer better products to customers? Because even today I see, you might know everything about me, but in fact my credit decisions are taken by a CIBIL score. Despite the fact that I may have a 15-year history with you as a bank customer.
So I'll respond to that question quickly because you asked and other questions in the forum. The banks had a very poor data strategy. Okay, why? Because a lot of them chased monolithic data warehouses. Okay, enterprise projects, Netezas, Teradatas of the world, centrally run IT running, trying to put all the data together. It hasn't worked. Let's be honest. Every single bank globally, make a name. What happened with big techs? The way they used the data was very different. Basically, they used the compute of new technology like Spark. Hadoop came and actually left. Now Spark is like the de facto, and then the cloud databases started coming in. So the entire data strategy moved from an on-prem monolithic clunky stuff to a very agile, scalable cloud data lake. Right? So first is to facilitate. So the bank is already, in fact, we're moving away from our centralized data warehouse thought process to a cloud data lake. We are actually working with Microsoft. We're going in Azure data lake actually. But that doesn't solve. That's still consolidating the data. The second is you actually overlay with what I call as every API has to be tagged along with a data API, because that's where the decision points come, right? So if you're fetching an account query balance and it's a data API equivalent to give an insight on that, then you make it much more powerful for a cross-sell, right? At every point of time. So the APIfication of the data platform is the second part of the journey. And then comes the third part, which is the holy grail, which is when you can apply the AI ML on top of it. Where are we in this journey? We just started the movement from a classical core data driven, centralized data driven to cloud. And there's a lot of work happening. And the way we're looking at it is each of these data points are federated lakes for the businesses to really leverage. Because rather than centralizing everything and running, and that's been the problem actually. So there is a lot of work that's happening in this area. It's a project that's a long-standing project, but you'll start seeing MVPs coming out actually much faster. In fact, we're already doing something very interesting called Spark Beyond actually in the marketing side, which is an interesting cloud-enabled data analytics platform where the cross-sell analytics is coming through. But a lot of work to do, just to answer that question. But fundamentally, the foundation has already started being built and clearly moving away from classical data thought process to a new age data thought process. And you're right, this is a trove of data to be used. The lakes will come, the business ownerships will come, the API and data will come, and then the AI MLs will start firing on that. So it's still a long way to go from that.
In the morning session, you saw Shashi and Srini talking about 77 million pre-approved customer base and the offers that we have today. With 70 million customers, when we mine their data, we've got 77 million product offers which are available. So technically, just by looking at our own data, we can create another HDFC bank out of the products that we can target and personalize. What you saw is an application which works on APIs, but analytics is a big part of it. And app, APIs and analytics together are going to do that magic. We are this journey is underway, but you will see some of this personalization happening now.
In fact, some of the thought process on the digital banking also come from that. For example, a lot of work today is moving on headless CRMs. Right? No longer people log into service CRMs or sales CRMs because the analytics behind do that. I don't know how many of you use Outlook and Viva Sales. Viva today, I don't know if anybody is using out here on your daily Outlooks, right? I mean, it just kind of organizes and gives you. That's the kind of intelligence, data intelligence, in fact, we are planning to build as a part of the digital banking unit. So imagine the sales guys, actually, why should they log in and do 4 clicks to get a data point? Your AI ML engine can tell you these are the top 3 customers to call. This is really the relationship value of that particular 4 customers. And this is probably where you have to focus your sales on, right? It's an intuitive thing that can come from the back end. Not just that, in fact, it's moved much beyond today. We're working with Microsoft on a very interesting project where you get a third part. So suppose the RM calls up the customer and assume you need to convert those notes, right? Because, you know, it's a conversation and then you have bots today sitting in between, you know, listening to the conversation, converting it and then making insights and then pushing it to your Outlook or Teams kind of stuff rather than kind of you logging into the CRM. In fact, our entire digital bank strategy would actually emanate from that. So when an HDFC customer, limited customer walks into a bank, I can actually take a consent API and I can look at a 360 of the group companies. That's where we would want to actually go as a directional thing. The part of that strategy starts with building the data lake and then, like I suppose, getting the data API architecture right, and then comes the AI ML overlay on that. That's the direction that we plan to go. Foundational, a lot of work to be done. I definitely want to qualify that. It's the beginning. In fact, we just signed up with Microsoft on a very large enterprise data lake, structure, and moving all our data to the Azure cloud actually.
If you don't mind, yeah. Just in the interest of time, that was the last question. Thanks for your patience. Thanks Anjani, Parag, and Ramesh as well. If you still have the energy, we can take some of this offline. I'll just call Unmesh. I'll just request Unmesh or Varun, if you could just step in for a very quick vote of thanks. Thanks.